Hi, my name is Claire Sala. I'm 16 and my family is from Spain, Puerto Rico, and Israel. So my grandpa, his name was Ramon. We had to say Ramon, and so he was born in Barcelona, and his mom died when he was 1, and his dad died when he was 15, and was basically an orphan in his entire life. And so he came to America with only a nickel in his pocket, and he went to New York. He lived there in Brooklyn, and he met my grandmother. This, by the way, this is on my dad's side. My grandmother, who was born in Puerto Rico, it's a U.S. territory, so she's automatically a U.S. citizen. And so they met in New York, and then together, my dad. And my dad was raised through a Spanish culture too. I mean, they only speak Spanish in the house. And he also had a really hard life too, because like discrimination and oppression, he always got bullied. He had to just deal with all this stuff, and it was just hard for him. And then they moved to California a couple times, back to New York, California, back to New York, and then they just stayed in California. My dad met my mom and then had me and my brother. From my mom's background though, she never really connected with it as much because complications in the family. But my grandpa, his name was Ed Genoff, he was born in Israel, and he came here, and then he met my grandmother, her name was Pat, and then they had my mom and her younger brother. You know how people always think just because you may speak Spanish, or you have or if your family is maybe from Spain or Puerto Rico or anywhere from South America, people who are not educated on it, they may just think you're Mexican. And it's just more than that. And I think it's important to know about cultural expression and how to express it properly and respectfully and positively. So it's okay to teach people, yes, there is diversity in the world, and yes, that is okay. When I was growing up, since my parents worked all the time, I mostly spent the time with my grandparents, mostly my dad's parents, and they obviously spoke Spanish in their house all the time. And then there I felt in place and I felt accepted because in my family we call it Spanish taste buds. And so we all have really weird taste buds, and and versus in school, because I grew up in Catholic school, which I don't believe in really. I was kind of forced into it, and then my mom's side, I just felt out of place, and people would make fun of me oh, why am I not white like that person? Why don't I have blonde hair? It's just I grew up thinking you need to be this way, you need to act this way so you don't feel weird. There was just no diversity in Huntington Beach, to me at least, from where I grew up and what I saw, and I just felt out of place. I just didn't like it. I used to speak Spanish a lot, and it just came off right off the bat, off the tongue, but I can never read or write in Spanish, and that's why I'm taking Spanish classes still. And for Hebrew, I could speak a little bit, but I can mostly read and write in it. It just balances out. I'm really proud of my culture, and I don't care really what anyone thinks about me or it. I just care what people think about it, I guess. I love how gorgeous the people are. I love how talented they are, and the architecture in Barcelona is beautiful, and just everything. And when I was growing up, my grandma would always say Puerto Rico, my grandma would always say when I was growing up, Puerto Rico is the pearl of the sea. And so that kind of made me feel good, because I'm like, yeah, I'm from the pearl of the sea. Catch that. I never have, because my family could never afford it, but I would really like to when I grow up. I really want to live in Spain for a few years when I get older and when I have the money. Well, besides not really outside of school, but mostly in school with a lot of close-minded kids. And of course, like I felt like out of place too, because Puerto Rican people often are very hairy, and it's not really a problem, of course. I mean, everyone's hairy, but like and such, like, and then I just saw other kids, and then, you know, they were like hairless and all this stuff, and I'm like, why can't I look like that? And people in school would always call me like Sasquatch or a monkey, and it's like, you're racist and rude. First, it made me view it negatively. Like, if you're not like fully white, or if you're not a mixed European, it's just like, you're a bad person, your culture's bad, it's this, it's that. I never was taught diversity and how that's okay. And it just, of course I had to grow out of it, and my parents didn't teach it to me because they weren't, you know, they didn't really, I was a really closed and shy child, so I didn't really express this. And like, oh, these kids in school, they would say something negative about my culture, and they would say negative something about me and my physical features. Like when you look at like my brother and I, we were very pale people, so but when we were younger, we looked very, very Spanish and Puerto Rican. And I guess just also, you know how you have like those grandparent days in elementary school? Like all the white grandmothers and grandfathers would come in, and then you would have my little 4'8" Puerto Rican grandmother just like, "Hola, Claire!" from the door, and then everyone's like, what is that? And then that would just make me feel out of place and just kind of unfair. Like, oh, why does my family express this? I thought this was a bad thing, you know. It's just, yeah, I just never got taught diversity. Yeah, and it just, for me, it just made me feel very, very insecure about myself. And of course a bunch of other things did, but the bullying really, really did. And it's especially to something that you can't, like, I can't change about myself. Of course, I can't change like my sexuality, my race, you know, stuff like that. And I believe it's never okay to make fun of something someone can't change about themselves, and that just makes you feel even more insecure, and you can't change that. It's like, in a whole, as I view it now, as when I'm 16, I view it to me positively, because I had so much fun in my grandparents' house, and I felt loved and appreciated, and I don't care what anyone thinks of me and my family, because I know we're fine and we have each other, and that's all that matters. I wish people know the difference between cultural appropriation and appreciation. I also wish that people would, and like if we are older and we have kids, teach them about diversity, educate them that this is a good thing, you need to appreciate other people, and if you have nothing nice to say, you don't say it. People think like xenophobia, homophobia, racism is all real. No, pardon my French, that's just called being an asshole. Like, that's not okay. And I just think that you just need to respect other people, respect their wishes, and, you know, respect their culture and everything with it. And if like you don't like it, well then suck it up.